What's up guys and welcome. Today we're going over a quick video on should you pull on the next 10 times event and if you pull on which banner. Now we have on one side Captain Reef and Osirian, and on the other side we have Arrogance and Razak. And on the side of Arrogance we have Oleg and Midan. Now it is a 10 times event and not a 2 times event, but that's exactly what you want. I will go over it more in depth in a video that is coming up on mistakes that you should avoid and things you should consider, but most people are on a point like me. They have a good core. They have their good core units complete. They have a DPS, they have a healer and everything, and now they need specific heroes. And to get specific heroes, a 10 times event, even for free to play players just like me who doesn't spend on summons, a 10 times event is better. And at some point in mid game you want to transition from 2 times to 10, and that is probably now for a lot of people, and it's a really good time to do that. So we have Arrogance and Razak, and on the other side we have Captain Reef. And for the most people, I'm not gonna be honest, you want to pull on the Arrogance banner, cause Arrogance is just a menace, so good. Captain Reef, so good. Razak, also good, but Arrogance, I say number 1, then Reef, then Razak. But they're all really good, and depending on which characters you already have, it's always going to be different for you. And the reason why I recommend you to pull on the Arrogance banner is not only that Arrogance is just insane and a lot of people are lacking a good fighter, me included, but the epic units. You have Oleg, best tank in the game pretty much for 4 stars, and you have Midan, a HP scaling healer that increases the defense of your team. So that alone, these epics alone are so good, so valuable for your team. Now let's go over in depth on what these champions and characters all do, starting with Captain Reef himself. And let's see on which banner you should pull depending on which characters you need or which area in the game you're lacking. So Captain Reef is a defender, but here's the thing. He actually is really good for AoE because he brings a lot of utility and damage. So he deals normal attack 100 percent damage to all enemies. His talent, for every 4 enemies killed on the battlefield, increases the hero's attack speed by 10 till the end of battle, up to 100. So he can stack his attack speed insanely high, especially for gear rate 1. This talent alone is one of the reasons why he's so strong for gear rate 1 and can help you a lot in progressing there. Then his ultimate, Boiling Brine. After the ultimate skill is activated, attack will deal 200% AoE damage to multiple enemies and inflict stun upon them. For 20 seconds is this ultimate. His ultimate on a 1100 rage cap, so quite a big rage cap for sure. Then we have passive, inflict slow upon 5 enemies in range. Another control ability which helps a lot for cultist teams, and cultist units, as we all know, excel at AoE. So he also helps them excel, deal more damage against gear rate 1 specifically and overall in terms of AoE damage. Then another passive he has, Sunken Treasure. After Razak is activated in Hero Gallery, gold obtained through battle is increased by 6%. So if you have Razak and Captain Reef, is gonna be an insanely big deal. It's an insane deal. 6% extra gold helps a lot, because let's be honest, gold is such a scarce resource in this game. It's so scarce. We all need it and we all don't have enough. And then here his normal passive is already gold increased by 6% already. So you will have a 12% increase overall, which is huge. It is huge. Now for the details, his cost is 19, block 3, and revival time is 60, which is pretty basic. But as you can see, his stats are actually quite strong in terms of damage. So his stats are quite decent, and he may be a defender, but you actually want some crit rate and everything on him. Cause his attacks will deal a lot of AoE damage. And he can provide some damage as well. So there's that. That is it about Reef. Now for the 4-star here, Osiren, don't even bother. Please. I don't like him. I pulled him relatively early, but I never built him because I had Vultus. And I thought the 25% AoE damage, like, come on, it's a wet noodle, right? Maybe he helps you if you're really, really lacking, but yeah. Let's go over Arrogance. Look at this attack range of a fighter. He can, it's lovely. So starting off with his talent, Demon Bow. Inflicts burning on the target, then Demon Blades. In normal stance, 30% chance to increase hero's attack speed by 40. Stacks up to 3 times for 30 seconds. So even more attack speed than Captain Reef can have. And in his bow form, if he deals range damage, he inflicts burning, which is also really nice. Now passive attack, attacks one enemy within 1 tile away from the Demon Blades. Dealing 100% damage, deals single target damage to enemies further away or airborne with the Demon Bow. So, he attacks enemies, like it said in the talent, depending on the distance of the enemies. So if they're far away or flying, he uses his bow, and once they're 1 tile up in front of his face, then he uses his normal stance, which increases his attack speed by a large margin. Then Hellfire. His ultimate, 900 skill cost can go down to 750, so actually not that high. And then, so he goes in his Berserker stance, and attacks inflict 260% damage. Increases basic attack range, and he uses a blade instead when attacking enemies from far away. The blade inflicts AoE damage to enemies around the main target equal to 20% of that of the main target, along with the additional burning to all enemies. So don't get it wrong. It's not 20% of his attack. It's 20% of that 260%. So it's quite a bit of AoE damage. It's about 50%, like more or less. So it's quite a bit of AoE damage. And he will use his blade. Then his passive. For every 1 enemy killed while in Berserker stance, receives 1 stack of attack speed. Talent bonus when Berserker stance ends. Inflicts 80% AoE damage up to 10 enemies around. So there's some nice AoE damage. Then another passive. Demon Bow, Demon Boomerang. 15% chance to attack 2 targets. And in the blades, 15% chance to strike double. So really nice, really a lot of damage from him. A lot of damage. And if we take a look at his stats, you can see he has an insane amount of attack. Because he's a fighter, of course, fighters have more attack. Some even have more than him. But 5,000 attack is quite a bit. Yeah, it's quite a bit. Especially if you compare it to some 3 stars. It's a lot more. So there's that. Block value is average. His cost is a bit on the higher side for a fighter, I think, with 18. And he is really good. He's gonna help you so much in artifact material rate, and he's gonna help you a lot in guild boss as well. He's gonna be utilized pretty much everywhere. You can use him pretty much everywhere. You can use him really well in gear rate 3 as well, because he can actually hit airborne units. So he himself, he will boost your account a lot. And on top of it, he's Nightmare. Don't forget it. He's Nightmare faction. So you will have one of the lords for Nightmare. So definitely, I'm excited. I'm gonna go ham. I told in my last sums that I saved some for the next 10x raid up, because I knew it is time to switch from 2x to 10x. And I'm glad I made this decision. I even have a divine summoning ready for him. I hope it works. Now Razak. Hey, Razak. So Razak is a marksman. And he is just really good for gear rate 3, of course. And let's go over him more specifically. So his basic attack is 100% AoE damage to multiple enemies. So that is just really good for gear raid 3. When he has to deal with one of the sides on his own, he can do that exceptionally well. Plus he's a piercer. If you have a lord, he will get even more range. So there's that. Then about his ultimate, let's go over his ultimate. Actually, let's go over his talent. Every basic attack has a 30% chance of generating 2 soul-eating fish. We have to consider that. So what are the soul-eating fish? Let's go here. Attack one enemy with the highest HP percentage remaining, dealing 200% damage. That's quite a lot of damage. So as you can see, he's also, just like Captain Reef, really actually helping for some AoE, but of course he's a marksman and not a mage, which makes him good for gear raid 1, but not as good as a mage because of the strong defense enemies, heavily armored enemies, right? But he's still A+ tier, like even S tier, I think gonna be pretty much for a lot of team people for pretty much any AoE content. Now passive, Soul Search. After Ocean's Clutch ends, that's his ultimate. After Ocean's Clutch ends, enhances the hero's talent, increasing the generation chance of soul-eating fish upon each attack by 20% and its quantity by 2. This effect lasts for 12 seconds. So after his ultimate expires, oh, I completely forgot to talk about it. Ocean's Clutch, 700 burst, 900 cost. So it's basically similar to a Maul's ultimate, just a huge AoE burst without the stun. So his ultimate will do a large burst and increase his consistent damage after the burst. So not only does it do a burst, but it will increase his passive by a large margin. You know, you will get up to 4 feet a fish, and the chance of each attack proccing this is quite high. So there's, yeah, it's quite nice. Within 15 seconds of deployment, each kill generates 2 soul-eating fish. Afterwards, triggers 1 time every 30 seconds. So, as you can see, he is based around his fish, you know. They deal 200% damage, so it's quite a large margin. And his kit is based around the fish. It's really nice. I actually like the kit, how they designed it and everything. Then, after Captain Reef is activated, so Captain Reef gives you extra gold, and he gives you extra XP. As you can see, 5% XP and another 5% XP even if you have him without Captain Reef. So that's nice. So that is about it about him. And then if you go about his kit, you can see 4000 attack, decent attack range, let's say. He has just a really slow, as you can see, a really slow attack interval. So that is something that you should consider. Other than that, I think his cost is also a bit too high for a marksman. I prefer marksman with lower cost. I already have Setram who has a high cost, and even though he's really good, you can really feel the high cost on a marksman. So, by the way, here I wanted to show you guys the attack range from Arrogance will actually increase after you leveled him up properly, promoted him. And then Captain Reef, if we go here, has a 3.5 attack interval, and Arrogance, we didn't go over it, has a 2.4 attack interval. So a bit faster, of course. Fighters usually attack faster anyways. But yeah, that's about it. I'm definitely going to go hard on the Arrogance banner. I think for most people the Arrogance banner will be better just already because of Midan and Oleg, the 4 stars right here. They're just top tier. If you specifically want the, if you already get Arrogance, you have the 2 4 stars and feel like, okay, I'm good to go, then I think it's you can go for Captain Reef. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have luck pulling, and I'm out. Peace.